I have my reservations about the male of the pair, let's say.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about the guy who basically was in charge of conquering Vefselk's family, she just spits on the ground or whatever sign of dust or hatred, and then takes another little smoke of her pipe.
Okay.
So there's a lot of feelings going on here, and a lot of different different views. I'm curious. Again, I don't mean to push anybody, but what then do you think you are going to suggest or do? And also the precise. Okay, there's a sequence of events for Farith, which is that he talked to Sisiva and made effectively a business deal with her.
Yeah.
And then traveled to the Jackal tribe and met her brother. And then events proceeded as he described. And then there is the fact that Ithasha had this terrifying encounter with this ghost who effectively gave her this command or order or demand to have her children brought back to the ant people, right?
Just a second there, because I double-checked that.
Okay, yeah. What's that?
For some reason, Ithasha is much more smart than I am, because what she said is she would bring information.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Oh.
Okay. So, in that case, well, I was talking about what the ghost said.
I would suspect that the ghost
good enough. Okay.
does something else, but she is basically there's a little hope there for her. So far she's looking for information, but given the information she got now, she probably would. She would ask Farid, even though she just now doesn't want to tell him the whole story, whether he would be willing to help her meet Sisiva, because I absolutely and 100% got that the Jackal tribe is not a place where I want to go.
Right, you picked that up.
For a number of reasons. I mean, that was more
right. Like, that sounds dangerous. Let's go talk to her first. Okay, so
yes. So what I would suggest is I probably can find my way back to the river. My tribe is living at the river too, and then we could travel along the river.
Okay.
Okay.
So yes. So in other words, you are talking about proceeding back to the human.
I'm basically asking if he would
help
help
back
me
the way you came, without going an alternate route. Okay. So what do you guys think?
I'm gonna just follow where Farith leads. So I'm turning to Farith.
I'm a little taken aback because I didn't see our relationship like that. I felt like,
now you know.
She was leading me around, but
now
okay.
Well, I'm gonna lead you to where you want to go, but I feel like I'm just here to be your kind of the person who knows how to get from point A to point B.
Right, but he is your ticket out. You've been saying that he is your ticket out of your situation, and that and I think Farith finally just realized that for the first time.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, and so I'll tell them I have to be straight with you, and I have no particular authority or influence over the place I come from, aside from my trade, and part of that was based on recovering what sand. I don't know. For my people, and you may or may not know that my people is basically descendant of your people, but the way we developed to give our self-worth among the humans was to make tools and weapons for them out of sand. And I was meant to recover some of that really impressive sand we were fighting in earlier on.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I know exactly where it is.
Yeah, exactly. So I think right now, if we want to go back and have some leverage, I may need some of the stuff, and that will be a step in the process. Otherwise, I think I can arrange a meeting with her, with Cecilia.
If you come back armed with bags of sand, you probably will be in very good
Yes,
shape.
that's the point. That's the point. If we go back, I need to go back to her, and I need to question her about her brother, and I need to figure out what happened there. If she was into it, if she was, if she knows what happened there, because I'm starting to think, and I'm thinking out loud here, really. I'm starting to think. I'm probably really, I'm reserved probably by human standard, but next to them, I'm kind of like, the
Exactly,
the
right.
chatbot.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
Duster standards, you're quite expressive. Yeah.
And probably they are looking at me with zero reactions, so I keep talking because I'm trying to see if they are doing anything.
Well, there's been a
And
little
they
more
say-
reaction than you had been seeing before. The
Yeah, probably,
somewhat
yes.
desperate circumstances and the fact that Vefselk has spoken about you in a way that involves a human, that involves her emotions, and that you actually have seen a big shift in Ethasha's affect during this big shift in how she's behaving. Yeah, I think you're getting a better idea. You're reading a lot more than you were a few days ago.
Yeah.
Even after
I'm
spending
figuring
time
my
with the tribe,
leaps reading.
that's really starting to connect here. So I think you're right, but I do want to give Farth some credit for, kind of starting to get it.
And I'm saying we can return empty-handed,
Yeah.
but at that point I cannot grant you that she will be happy to see me or willing to talk to you about this stuff. It will be easier if we got some of that. I'm not suggesting we just go there because I think that will be, but maybe we can find some help or find some resources to try and do that. And if I have to be completely honest, and that's I'm also I'm interested in understanding what happened there, because that place is significant.
Yeah, no question about that.
It means
the waters were not only dangerous, they were also uplifting in some strange way. Right, remember.
Yeah.
So let's think about that. And one other point that I just want to know whether it has been articulated or not, which is that first, whether Ethasha is going to say that she actually has been talking with their mother, or what's left of her, or not. I don't know if you're going to talk about that at all. And I also don't know if you're going to mention that this person came to this region a century ago and came back pregnant with them.
Probably after what Farid told us now, that he in some way is a descendant of Dusters. Got me thinking, which is partly because why I didn't react to him talking before. But I'm realizing that there are some parts that are coming together, so I'm going to tell them the whole story as I understood
Aha.
it and as
Okay.
I
Okay.
experienced it, including that I'm actually not the proper shaman, that we picked
you're
basically
pretty
the
good.
wrong
That's
burial
what-
ground. We
Yeah.
stirred up a ghost that wasn't entirely pleasant,
Right.
and what aspired out of it, and maybe even including that I think I can bring them back to the river, but I probably don't want to go back to my tribe
Right. Right.
before I have figured out this completely.
Yeah, it seems to me everybody is saying something similar, that they would like to go back
And
to the towns, but nobody wants to go back to any of the tribes while doing that. So,
Mhm.
and
right.
I figure, I mean, I realize how important this mission of his is for Farid. So even though I feel really uncomfortable with the thought, I will honor his wishes
Right. Right.
just
But,
because of that.
right. Or let's everybody decide whether you are going to proceed toward Ithasha's tribe, but not to rejoin it, but just to make your way to the river, and then find an alternate route back home, or back to Farth's home.
So we are not going to.
Right.
Well,
Or if you are going to perhaps pursue some of further possible evidence or understanding of the birth of the twins, or
Mhm.
the conception of the twins, at least, or what happened when Ithala was here. I mean, you don't really know very much about that. Was she here with a bunch of other dusters? What was that about? What was happening? But it was a century ago. But it's, things. Who knows what you? I mean, you've clearly found evidence of something here. So there may be more. And so that's another route. As I understand it, those currently are your only two options. Stay to find out more information if you can, and also possibly recover some sand if you can figure out a good way to do it. Or start traveling empty handed with no more information than you have and no sand.
I don't think Ithasha wants to force Farid to travel empty-handed back,
Right.
because she understood how important that is for him. She may suggest to look at sand in the vicinity, not to go down there again.
Right. The fun part, of course, is that now we have all three characters looking uneasily into the haunted, scary, and unknown regions, and realizing that that's probably where they're going to need to go.
Yeah, but the fun thing is also
Yeah.
that what they don't know is that my character is kind of drawn to that. I mean, I'm starting to get back on my feet, and the potential of all of the significance that is there is kind of drawing me to be
It's also
interested.
kind of interesting too, because you have met two characters that until now seemed very far above your station, so very different in
Of
their
course.
influence on the societies that they live in. Half dusters of some considerable social force and power. And now all of a sudden you're going to know more about them than anyone else.
Yes, that's also very interesting.
So
It's kind of the opportunity to write some history, to
Right.
write down, some history about this. And that's interesting.
Okay.
But
It wouldn't be without its own source of power as well.
yeah,